Hey team, it's time for an early career designer's portfolio review. I'm Megan Thomas and I'm a senior UX designer with almost 10 years of experience in enterprise software design. I've taught and mentored over 300 early career designers through UC Berkeley's UX UI Design Bootcamp. In this video, I'm going to review an early career designer's portfolio and share my thoughts as a senior designer. My goal is to provide actionable feedback to help them succeed as they look for a job in the UX industry. Join me for a stream of consciousness walkthrough as I assess one of their case studies. Remember, mine is just one opinion. Make sure to get multiple perspectives before making any changes. All right, let's dive into the review and learn together. Hey friends, I am back with another early career designer portfolio review, and I liked the loading so much that I had to start this recording over again so that you could see what it looks like to load. So I'm going to copy and paste this link, and then when Winston's website loads, look at that, like, hello, I am, yeah, I know everybody says, hello, I'm so-and-so, or the little wave emoji, but I really liked that. It was a long enough animation time that it didn't feel like it was rushing me. I felt like I understood that you were saying hello, but also that it didn't continue to take up space. Winston, that's really cool. You recognize that the hello isn't necessarily the thing that people are on the website for. They're here to see your work and find out about you, but saying hello sets the tone, sets the mood. I really like that. Just wanted to call that out. All right, so I'm here with another early career designer portfolio review, and we're looking at Winston Tran's website, and I already like it. Like I said, that little loading animation brought a little bit of delight, a little surprise, and it is an introduction without being pushy. And I know that this is a website that we're going to visit, and there's no such thing as pushy on there, but you get the idea. There are emotions that get evoked by how people experience your website, so I wanted to point that out. About you, you're a product designer with a background in industrial engineering. You've created tools to enable users to solve problems better for the last 8 years. That is good copywriting. I really like that. Me personally, I don't love the little orphan that gets lost down here. If I move my screen around, it makes the video do weird things, so I tend to keep it just right here. And this probably shows up differently depending on the width of the screen. So I can't really complain that much about this because it looks really good. Highlight, knowing that the solutions I help design are being used by frustrated users every day. I'm not sure this adds a ton of value to what you've got here because there's a little taste, a little bit of dangling down here at the bottom of the screen, enticing me to scroll down. And it honestly, it wasn't until I really looked in and was like, oh, that's not just like a hover text because my mouse is there. It's an intentional message. But I'm not really sure how much it adds. I do know that the feeling of helping people who used to be frustrated and now appreciate using your product, that is a nice highlight. I bet there's somewhere else that you can probably put that in this portfolio that is going to make you feel even better. And I would also say this is a little disjointed. So highlight is like the eyebrow text, and then knowing that the solutions I help design are being used by frustrated users, every day is not really a complete sentence. I think you're saying that the highlight of your career or something that you feel really good about is that you're building solutions that help users be less frustrated, but this just feels a little disconnected. Let's keep scrolling down. Okay, I'm loving this. I think you might also be a photographer, and that is super cool. All right, so moment 5. I don't know why I'm not loving the scrolling. That might just be my mouse needs charging. Okay. Moment 5. Moment 5 is a mobile wellness app that focuses on promoting physical and mental well-being with flexible 5-minute exercises. Love it. People are often busy and backlogged with responsibilities. Sometimes a spark is all that is needed to get through the day. Winston, I love this because I started and never finished creating an app that I really wanted to use myself, which was the 1-minute workout, just to move your body once an hour, maybe twice an hour, just to get you frequently doing something that helps your body stretch more. I have ADHD, so I get really hyper-focused on things, and like suddenly I'll look up and be like, oh my God, I haven't peed for 5 hours. This is not okay. Might want to say view case study because view case says something different, but I like your little animation here. I'm wondering if this is intentional, this text overlap, or if perhaps my screen is too wide. Yeah, so this is also very similar. All right, fine, I'm going to move my damn screen. Nope, it doesn't change. Oh, and it didn't impact my movie. Thanks, Clean Shot. All right, so UX, UI, and web. Perfect Properties, UX, UI, and mobile. Perfect Properties is a web app. Okay, if it's a web app, why are we showing mobile screens? That is a little confusing. To help users make informed purchases on real estate to achieve financial security. Lower risk and increase peace of mind. This is interesting. I don't want to click on it because you're saying it's a web app, which for most people that would be understood as responsive. A web app specifically is kind of like software as a service, like products that you use online. So the past company that I worked for is an HR technology company, and we sold a product that people would then use in their browser. And that's kind of the implication here. So the fact that you're showing mobile screens feels a little disconnected. You've also got Pizza Garden, UI, web, and branding, popular franchise that specializes in pizza cooked in a stone oven. Oh, in the Vancouver. I wonder if that's Washington or BC. Okay, this is cool. I'm loving this. Why on earth? Okay, what does that say? Get in touch. Oh, that's so cute. Okay, I love it very much. I am going to click on the UX UI mobile app, mostly because I'm really interested in the topic, which is something that any hiring manager might be expected to do. If there's something that is a little bit more exciting, they're probably going to gravitate towards something like this. I like the mock-up, and I also like knowing that it is intentionally a mobile wellness app. And then, of course, there's the primacy bias. You've put it at the very top of your portfolio, which to me implies that this is the project that is probably the most robust. It shows your skills, or you're just most proud of it. Moment 5 is a mobile wellness app. All right, so I could see it on Figma. That takes me to the prototype. It's a nice visual at the top. It's a real good splash screen. It does draw me in to make me want to scroll down and find out what's going on. Let's see, project skills, UX/UI design. You could probably separate that given that there are some UX/UI designers, but kind of give me a little bit more specificity about what you did in both of those realms. I also love that you've got user interviews and usability testing, which tells me that you can also do UX research, and you have not mentioned it here. So just call out a little more specifically the things that people can expect to see in the project so that a hiring manager who has really specific needs, let's be real, they have a job description because they have holes in their team that they need to fill right now, that there's a gap in the work and they don't have someone to do it. So let them know what you're able to jump into quickly. Working remotely for an extended time prompted a decline in health and mental state. Between Q1 and Q2 of 2020, fitness app downloads increased by 46% worldwide. Good for us. The top grossing fitness apps were Calm and MyFitnessPal with an average of $7 million a month in Q2. I'm assuming that's of 2020. There are an abundant amount of tools with single purpose offerings that are overwhelming, demanding a significant amount of time from users to invest in. Okay, I'm wondering how that ties into this visual and what do we do next. So that is just a mock-up and that's cute. Supporting user insights. My initial research revealed some key information to get started and assist users on their simple wellness journey. Of the response received, 43% of users spent less than 10 minutes using a health tool and 50% of users spend less than 5 minutes. Oh boy. For health purposes, people like to keep it short and sweet. Honestly, we don't have the attention span that we had even 5 years ago, and that is awful. Since we can't measure things by feel too well, 43% of users thought that using a mood or wellness indicator would be best to measure results, okay? Wouldn't it be great, we discussed, to contribute to our well-being consistently without spending too much time? Yeah, it would be great. I would also bring this in a little bit. This is just an orphan. That's just a grammar. I think it's a grammar. It's an editing thing. And essentially it just kind of leaves the reader dangling a little bit. So if you can squeeze this margin in a little bit, it would also be a little easier to process. It's really big text, which means that the line length doesn't matter as much, but it would just be maybe a little bit tighter. Putting it together, Iterative design. Okay, I used card sorting with my test users to determine the appropriate navigation to best go through the main tasks. I was able to create mid-fidelity sketches, which then went through usability testing. Doing so revealed a few medium to high severity concerns that were crucial to address before moving on. Am I dyslexic? I might be and just never knew it. Just a tiny bit, just a touch. All right, so we're getting into where we have images and images full of text. This is relatively big enough to read, but I can't click on it and make it bigger, which makes it very difficult if you've got a hiring manager who may have some vision deficiencies. This is going to be hard. And also, what's the point? Tell me what this output actually impacted your outcome. Why did you create this affinity diagram, and what did it help you do next? Because right now I see two outputs, both for navigation and then negative, positive, observation, quotes, errors. I would tie that together. You're doing a really good job with like super small, succinct things to like guide people to the next part of the story, but it does feel like we're cutting it a tiny bit short. And I recognize that that is infuriating advice, because some people are out here like, I want to read the whole of your case study soup to nuts. And some people are like, I don't have time for all this nonsense. Something I have recommended with another designer is kind of creating like, here's the 3-minute read, and then here's the longer read. So if you want to read the short and sweet case study of like, bang, 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 here's the outcome, want to find out more, then you can send them to a more complex case study. I recognize this is not typical out on the internet right now, and that's because we are currently deeply entrenched in a very specific type of case study, which you've done a really good job steering away from. So just throwing that out there as an option, not a drop everything and do this. That's not how I roll. All right. I want to tie this together. So what I'm not getting from here is putting it together. Like, how does this connect? There's a lot of white space here, and it's almost a little bit too clean to help me understand what's happening. Also, I don't love that the titles and stuff arrive as I'm scrolling past. It's kind of confusing. Also, I'm like, who is this? Who dis? Webflow. All right. You did a really good job on Webflow. I bet this, I hope this looks really good. Let me inspect this, because I'm nosy. So not everybody has a super great grasp of Webflow. It is a pretty complex tool. It's incredibly powerful, but it does get quite complex. So I actually like this. You did a really good job on mobile. So this is fun. But then look at this. There's nothing that you can read here. And since I can't tap to open these, why is this output necessary? Is it just because you feel like you had too much white space and you needed to put something in it? Just a thought. It could be more interesting to share like 2 of those medium to high severity concerns, or 3, especially if you address them later in the case study. So rather than just showing me a beautiful output, and this is a very nice sitemap, it's lovely. There's arrows here, which make it sort of implies that it is a user flow, but it is not a user flow. And I'm glad you did not label it as such. This is a navigation. You're showing how they connect, but that doesn't necessarily mean this is the way or the path in which the user will review them. Also, yeah, what is this for? It's just pretty. Okay, the road to success. I conducted A/B testing iterations and made iterations, or did iterations, to determine what was more appropriate. More than what? To determine what was more appropriate. Rephrase this. This is confusing. So you conducted some A/B testing and you iterated your designs and determined the most appropriate, not more appropriate. And that is just semantics. So just calling that out. Then applied visual design and Gestalt principles, I love it, to create organized screens. So this is, I love it because I just love saying the word Gestalt. It's just lovely, and it's the German word for form. So you're saying I applied the principles of, hierarchy. What else is Gestalt? Closure. Oh my gosh. I can visualize the things and the words aren't coming to me. That is ADHD. I love this. Is that communicative to the hiring managers? Do you see a lot of job descriptions looking for people who understand Gestalt principles, or are they just understanding best practices in UI design? So it looks lovely and it sounds lovely, but make sure your audience knows the words that you're using. And can I assume that every hiring manager in UX has been a UX designer? No, you cannot. We would love that, but that's not reality. An important step before kicking it high fidelity was to collaborate with other experienced designer to see if anything was missed. The design was shifted from an overextended process with far too many quantitative data to a shortened design that tracks progress. Let's review that and make this a little bit more refined. The design was shifted as very passive language, and this is actually a great plug for one of my. Let me see if this makes sense. Hold on. We're going to test this together. We're doing it live. Hemingway app. Oh, boops. All right. So what's interesting about Hemingway app is it's telling you that your sentences are far too complicated. So let's see if we can fix it. I did A/B testing to decide what was better. Or which option was better. Again, you have to have context. So Hemingway is not good at context. It's not an AI generative editor. It's not creating stuff for you. It is just refining what you have and then making it a little bit more readable. Interesting. An important step before kicking it high fidelity was to collaborate with other experienced designers. The design was shifted. So this is saying use active voice. We shifted the design. And if this is a singular project and it seems a little bit like this is your work and not a group work. So if that's the case, focus on saying I. Hiring managers have said that it's very frustrating when they interview a designer and find out that the case study on their portfolio was actually a group project, but they implied that they did the work, and then it really turns out that they only did a couple of the things. So take ownership of what you do. Yeah, okay. So this marginally helpful, but it also helps to add a few more words. So I shifted the design from a very overextended process with far too many quantitative data points to a shortened design flow that, like, I feel like we're missing a couple of words that tracks the user's progress, something like that. Maybe a few more words. I do appreciate that you're trying to keep it super short and simple. Just make sure every single sentence is super tight and powerful and moves the person to the next part of the case study. All right, take a break. A key feature of Moment 5 is based on the evidence provided by users who do not spend more than 10 minutes in a day to take care of their well-being. The design chosen provides versatile options separated by move or rest exercises to increase engagement. To back up a user's selection, steps are listed, followed by 5-minute guided instructions. Okay. Interesting. This is super cute. So you use some really cool illustrations. Breathe in and breathe out. You're almost there. Okay. Tracking progress is one of the most effective ways to determine how far away a goal is. Users thought using mood tracking would benefit them the most. So a reflection step was added post-exercise. The results taken would be shown visually in the home screen with options to further slice and dice goal-related information. Okay. These are really, really big mock-ups. I feel like you could bring this down just a tiny bit. Yes, there is text in it, but like this, I cannot even get the entire thing in my vision. So it's kind of like I lose track of the beginning of it by the time I get to the end. And then when I'm at the end, I'm like, what am I looking at? So make that a little bit tighter, a little bit more, maybe break it in half, side by side. Okay, outcomes and takeaways. 83% of users were generally satisfied and considered using Moment 5 for their daily well-being. Highlights included working with participants during usability testing to determine the best possible solution. It was exciting to see users pointing out severity errors that I hadn't thought of, showing me the importance of user feedback. Refine that. That needs a little bit of grammar work. 10 months spent part-time to build this project from end to end. What does end to end mean? Because I'm wondering if this is just design work or if you also like ended up building this, which is super fun if you did. And it also shows like how flexible you are as a designer, how willing you are to get into rapid prototyping, and no pressure at all. If you didn't do that, this just seems kind of like fun and now I want to touch it. I had fun working on a project focusing on wellness as it allowed me to dive into a user's personal goals. This made me reflect on the tools I use and how they were designed. Future considerations would involve responsive design and enhancing accessibility. Okay. So what I'm immediately left with emotionally is, wait, what are you selling here? I love that you've brought together the details. I think the visuals of your case study look really good. I think the entire flow from top to bottom is a cohesive experience, but language-wise, I feel kind of left at a loss. Like I would love if you took the opportunity to say, try it out for yourself. And that's where you can appropriately put a link to the Figma to say, and even like more so than just try it out for yourself, but give it a shot, record your mood for the day, or give them a task that you might have assigned somebody for usability testing, something that is actually functional on the prototype that you share in Figma, and help people feel integrated in your work. Because right now, I have the same satisfaction as when I end a book that I marginally enjoyed. Like it wasn't amazing, it didn't blow my mind, but I have the satisfaction of it being done without the motivation to take action. So if you're going to keep it in this kind of flow, in which I think you should, there's just a little bit of refinement here. I would definitely make sure to guide someone to the next step. Is that contacting you? Is that finding you on LinkedIn? Is that asking a question about the app? Is that leaving a comment via a contact form? What do you want them to do next? And most of the time, you want them to come and like hire you, right? That's why we have a portfolio. Not entirely true for everybody, but if you signed up for this review, then you probably want that. Okay, so this is super fun. I think you've done a fantastic job with your website design, Winston, and I really do love this. It's a great delay, and you've just got a few things to refine on here, but it seems like your visual design skills are fantastic. We've got to do a little bit better on storytelling and communication. I highly recommend Jeff White's, I think that's his last name, Jeff White's UX storytelling course. It's uxstorytelling.io. I am actually currently enrolled in it. I have not finished it yet. There's a little bit at the bottom that is not totally relevant to my situation right now, but it's actually directly relevant to you in this sense because it's about how to talk through your portfolio, how to tell that story to someone who's looking to hire you. So give that a shot. I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to take a look at your portfolio. And thank you to everyone who's watching. If you want to leave a comment and give Winston some kudos, some clapping, some feedback, that would be amazing. I would also appreciate some feedback. And if I'm the only person who has said this to you today, I just want you to know I love you, I'm proud of you, and I cannot wait to celebrate your success. You got this. All right, we'll see you in the next one.